while we were riding around one night, Justin made the comment, wouldn't it be cool if we could get paid for this? Instantly, my brain started working. And I said, we can. And I started thinking about how to do a TV show involving this. And I started making calls and stuff. I got told by several people that I was wasting my time. I got told by one network that they were interested, but we had to do it the legal way. And so I started working on that. Well, in the meantime, things got a little crazy at work, and Justin and I ended up both transferring to another Home Depot store in Arkansas. We moved up and continued working on getting the TV show going. And at work one day, this guy, I didn't even know him. We worked in the same store, but I didn't know the guy. The only thing I knew was his name was Don because that was on his apron. But he came to me and he said, hey, my wife really needs to talk to you. And obviously I didn't know his wife. How did she know me, you know? And I just shrugged it off. I said, okay. And went on about my ways. Well, about a week went by and he came back to me and he said, hey man, my wife really needs to talk to you. And I was like, about what? And he said, you're into some things and you're gonna need some guidance because there's some stuff you don't know. And that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. So I still didn't agree to talk to his wife because I didn't know either one of them. So why would I agree to this? But I was intrigued. Well, about another week went by and I saw this lady walking across the parking lot coming toward me. And she walked straight up to me and she said, hey, didn't Don tell you I needed to talk to you? And obviously it was Don's wife that needed to talk to me. I don't know how she knew who I was. I thought it was extremely crazy. So I told her, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't agreed to it because I'm kind of scared I'm gonna end up in little pieces inside y'all's walls. And she kind of chuckled and she said that wasn't the case. She just needed to tell me some things that I didn't know already that would help me out in the future. So I made her promise that I wasn't going to end up in little pieces inside their walls. She promised. So I went over to their house. Well, they started telling me a bunch of interesting things. And they told me that they knew I was into paranormal investigation and that I wasn't quite ready yet. And they said that there are things out there that I don't know what they're truly capable of, and they were going to guide me. Well, they gave me the name of this little shop to go to pick up some books and start reading some stuff. And I went to the shop. I walked in the door. The guy behind the counter said, hey man, can I pull your card? And I had no idea what he was talking about. And he said, just come here, let me show you something. And he pulled out this big book. And it was like a choose your own adventure book. He would ask me a question. He would flip a bunch of pages. Then he would ask me another question, flip a bunch of pages. It was a bunch about my birthday, down to the hour and the minute of the day that I was born. And he landed on this page there was an excitement on his face. And he said, man, I've always wanted to meet somebody like you. And I was like, what in the world? I'm just a normal dude. Like, what's up? He said, you're a bringer of change. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he kind of looked up to the ceiling, like, trying to gather his words. He said, well, it means you know something that a whole lot of people need to know. And I was like, okay, man, can I get my sandalwood incense and get out of here? So I went back to Don and Gail's house, and I didn't tell them what happened that day, but we got into some different conversations, and the topic of auras came up. And I asked Gail if she could see auras, and she said yeah. I asked her if she could look at mine, and she kind of got excited, and she said, I've never thought to look at yours. So she sat there staring at me for a little bit in an awkward silence, and then she tilted her head to the side and started smiling. And I said, it's black, isn't it? Like I'm dead inside, ain't I? And she said, no, your aura is not a color. And she said some crazy word that even if I remembered it today, I still wouldn't be able to pronounce it. She said, it's called the vine of life. She said, your aura is not a color. It's a design that grows. And it will always grow as long as you're alive. And I said, well, what does that mean? She said, well, it means you're a bringer of change. And that was exactly what the guy at the shop said. So I wanted a different opinion on it. I said, well, what does that mean? And she did kind of the same thing. She looked up a little bit. Then she said, that means that there's something inside you that a whole lot of people need to hear. And so that was a second confirmation. And I mean, to this day, I still have no idea what that is. Maybe one day I'll find it and I'll let all these people know exactly what that is that they need to know. But moving forward on the TV show, I pushed and pushed, and I worked for about a year trying to get this TV show going. I spent 8 months of that year just calling agents. I had a 22-page list. Each page had 4 columns on it, and these agents were listed alphabetically by state. I made it to page 21 before I found somebody that said they would help me. And I got to work doing everything he asked me to do. And to make an extremely long story short, when it came time, my agent didn't make the cut with a certain company. And I lost everything. I had contracts being drawn up with 2 networks for this TV show, and my agent was cut off from corresponding with anybody that he had been talking to. And for me to get that back going and to pull him out of his cutoff, it took a whole lot of money that I didn't have. So the TV show got dropped. And to this day, there's not been another TV show that's hit near the idea that I had for mine. After mine got dropped, it was in the next year that Ghost Hunters premiered, and then following them, so many more dropped and was going, and still nobody's done exactly what I was trying to do. Maybe one day something will come of it.